If Bitcoin closes like this on the weekly, this can mean trouble in the next coming months. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Edward Ornelas. This is part of the Cryptocurrency Mastermind. And if you're interested in cryptocurrency trading or cryptocurrency technical analysis, specifically Bitcoin, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and of course that notification bell. Let's get right into it, okay? So if you actually pay attention to the weekly charts, Bitcoin does not look good whatsoever. I did go into this yesterday discussing that if Bitcoin is very likely in a situation where we're going to see more downside in the coming weeks, perhaps in the coming months. In my personal opinion, Bitcoin already started another downtrend. I know a lot of people don't want to agree with that, and that's perfectly fine, all right? It is perfectly logical to think that we could still be in a bull run, but I'll talk about why it is not a good sign that Bitcoin is below $8,000, I should say $8,500. All right, so let's get into it, okay? I know I'm rambling on, so let me explain why this isn't a good outlook for Bitcoin. First and foremost, Bitcoin already broke its uptrend that it had going quite a while back, all right, since back in July. Since then, it struggled to try to get above this trend line right here, this 10,000 resistance structure. And a few days ago, earlier this week, it had a huge drop in price action down below to $8,000, right? In fact, it went down towards $7,800 at its lowest point. Currently, as we stand, it is sitting at just around 8,000, ranging in between 8,000 at its highest peak around 8,500, which is still not a good sign. And I did discuss this in yesterday's video that as long as we're below that 200 exponential moving average, we're very likely to see Bitcoin go down further. All right, we're going to maybe see some consolidation, but we're going to maybe see more downside, from this point on. But one thing I did not talk about was the weekly. All right. So if you actually look at these EMAs right here, we have two EMAs. I have the 18 and the 36. As you can see, in fact, let's pull up a different chart. Let's pull up Bitstamp just so you guys can see how much of an influence these EMAs have. But as you can see, throughout the entire run-up that Bitcoin had back in 2016 and 2017, these EMAs enacted as a strong support structure. In fact, you can see every single time that they would touch, you would get a strong bounce off of them, right? Not once did they ever go below. And even if they did go below, they'd always close above it, all right? This time around though, if we actually pay attention, we have been comfortably sitting below these EMAs now. And the last time we had an EMA crossing was way back here. All right, that's when the 18 and 36 cross, and that signifies whether it's going to start a bull trend or a bear trend. And currently you can see that they had a bull trend back in May. And that's of course enacted us to have a huge 200% plus run after that point. The last time before that though, we did have a bear cross, and this was back in July of 2018, okay? So almost over a year ago, I'm sorry. And that enacted us to pretty much officially commence its bear I guess you could say it's bear market. Because from that point on, we still had over pretty much a year's time of just being in a bear market. As you can see right now, Bitcoin is in a situation where it wants to almost cross towards the downside. You can see that the EMAs want to really, intersect with one another. It might not do it this week. In fact, I'd argue there's still about 3 or 4 more weeks, basically a month's time before we can get a possible cross like this. But if Bitcoin does close below these EMAs right here, it could very well enact it to try to, get it closer and closer to each other, which would then enact us to, get an EMA cross towards the downside. And like I said before, guys, not once throughout the entire run up that Bitcoin had back in 2016 and 2017 did we ever get one of those crosses towards the downside. We just didn't. And we always closed above them. In this case, we're literally right under it though. We're under that purple line. And so this is not a good sign at all for bulls. All right. So if you're a bullish guy, it's fine to be bullish long term. All right. I'm talking long term. But if you're bullish right now, it's just I'm going to pray for you, simply for the fact that the market just doesn't tell me that things are just bullish quite yet. It is very likely that we could get an EMA cross towards the downside, consolidate, maybe some more, maybe get a couple of bounces in between, right? But we're very likely to, make some lower lows down towards possibly, I've talked about this before, but down towards possibly around $6,000. All right. As you can see, even the 200 exponential moving average, and the 140 are pointing down towards lows of $6,000 or so. I don't think it's going to go below that. I don't think it's ever going to go below 5,000, 4,000. I know some people are calling for like 4,000 or even lower, like 3,000, 1,200 or whatever, but I don't think it's ever going to go that low. But I do think it is going to go down towards possibly $7,000, $6,000 at its lowest. So I'm not trying to scare you. If you are a long-term holder, maybe you should use this opportunity to scale into more Bitcoin, right? Because long-term, and I did talk about this in my last video, not my last video, but a couple of videos ago, that I do believe eventually Bitcoin will hit $100,000. I really do, all right, in between the next 3 to 5 years. So if you are a long-term holder and you want to, and you believe in Bitcoin's technology and, the future of Bitcoin, then yeah, use this opportunity to scale into Bitcoin. Because technically, every single time that Bitcoin's had a halvening, and this shout out to a friend of mine, his name's Ryan. He pointed this out the first time around. But basically, any single time we've ever had a halvening, right, that means where Bitcoin's price, not so much its price, but its mining payouts are cut by half. Bitcoin's price is always half its all-time high, right? So this right here was at 1,200, half its price was around $500, right, at the time of the halvening. And so I do believe that in the next halvening, Bitcoin's price will be half of what it currently was at its all-time high, right? So, eventually we'll probably come down here, consolidate, and then we'll eventually retrace back down towards possibly 10,000 range or so. So a price, if you're buying in below $10,000 in the long term, it's going to pay out. It is going to be a good investment, in my personal opinion, right? Don't take this as financial advice. As you can see down below, I'm only here to, state my personal opinions or whatnot. But so yeah, but I do, like I said before, I do believe that this is currently just not looking good at all for Bitcoin. I do believe we are in a situation where we could end up going lower, all right, simply for the fact that we are, again, just like I mentioned in my last video, we are again below the 200 exponential moving average, and we are in a bear trend, all right? We're currently trending downwards, and as well as the weekly EMAs. The EMAs are pointing towards more possible downside, especially if we close like this, all right? For me to be semi-bullish, we do have to close above 8,300, which is still very possible. We have more than 30 hours from the time of this recording before we get to that point. But even then, we still have to get above 8,700 for to get above the 200 exponential moving average. So there's a lot of resistance up ahead, all right? Just because we cross one doesn't mean that there's not another. So, so there's definitely a lot of barriers, to get in front of. But until then, I'm going to state, and personally, I am bearish, and every single bounce that Bitcoin does get. So if you do get above, say, 8,700 or even heck, up to 9,500, I'm still personally going to be short, and I would use these opportunities to open up a short position until we do cross. Once we do cross above that, then yeah, I will be bullish. I do think that we could end up going higher at that point. But anyways, so hope you enjoyed this video. I know, I hope it's nice and quick. I like to make this video nice and quick. It's only about 8 minutes. But before getting into it, go join our Facebook group. Links in the description below. Go check that out. It is the cryptocurrency traders group. All right, I'm currently adding a lot of people. It takes me a while to add people to the list, guys. So if you have been trying to get into it, I apologize. I will add you in possibly by today. But essentially, we do like to share technical analysis. We share our videos, our profits, that I have made in the past and whatnot. And I need a lot more people active in there. So please go check it out. Links in the description below. Also, go check out the Deribit. It's where I do all my trading as well. So you can buy Bitcoin, short Bitcoin. I do have a tutorial on that. Check it out. It's right in the channel, right? So go check it out. Deribit tutorial. Anyways, so with that being said, I'll see you on the next one.